Brian Joyce, Marketing Director at Ghostshield and co-creator of EpoxyMax.
That's right. How you doing, everyone?
How did, what prompted the creation of EpoxyMax?
Oh, that's a great question. So been here at Ghost Shield Concrete Sealers for about 6 years now, and we've always had coatings in our lineup. I don't know, how many people are familiar with our brand, but Ghost Shield got into the industry about 15 years ago, got their break in the commercial industrial market space, and some big high-profile projects. Always been known in the industry as a penetrating sealer company, hence the name Ghost Shield. Penetrating sealers, they protect concrete, and you can't really see them. When they dry, they're completely invisible. So that's where the name came from. We've always offered coatings, but it was just never really a focus of ours. Well, Ben and I, we were scrolling Instagram and we were checking out some of the, fun stuff that was happening with epoxy, particularly metallic floors. And we decided we were going to go take a class. And I think it was someone down in Florida. The two of us went down there. We spent a week, and we had a ton of fun. We just had a ton of fun. And at the beginning, we were like, okay, do we get into this market? And if we get into it, let's get into it how we would get into anything, which is full-fledged. And so we decided we were going to start producing our own coatings at that point, and we were going to do this on the side to create content to market all of our new coatings. We would start installing floors. And it was like an after hours weekend thing to really understand the coatings as we're working through the formulations with our chemists. We just wanted to know how do they work? How good do they work? What is it like to be an installer? Because, none of us have been installers. I mean, Ben and I, we've been running Ghost Shield for, and the epoxy was just something totally new for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, let's do this side business and let's call it EpoxyMax and let's do some installs. And I think probably after the second or third floor, we were, posting on our Instagram, and people were, contacting us saying, wow, you guys are, those metallic floors that you just did, they're pretty cool. Like, can I learn how to do that? So we said, all right, well, let's do some classes here at the home office and, show off our new products and see where it goes. And after the class, people were like, well, how do I get into this? And Ben and I looked at each other and we said, we should really just start franchising this whole EpoxyMax thing.
Mm-hmm.
People want to get into this business and they like the products and they like the brand that we're starting to create. Ben and I are kind of marketers by trade. I mean, I've been a marketer for a bunch of years. He was in marketing before starting Ghost Shield. So the two of us are just attracted to, how do we make this big? How do we make this fun? How do we make this brand cool? And I think I think a lot of people were just attracted to what we were doing. And, you add in some nice metallic floors. I mean, especially when you're talking about the Instagram clientele. I mean, people are eating it up. So EpoxyMax now, I mean, we can get into it, but, EpoxyMax now, I don't think I ever anticipated it to be quite what it is, because in my mind it was a side thing a couple of years ago. So it's been a cool ride, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
How long has it been out on the market now?
I would say we really started pushing it a year ago.
Okay.
About a year ago. It started with, we went to World of Concrete last year, and we just happened to run into this guy, Zach Martin, who used to be Ken Block's right-hand man. And I don't know if you know who Ken Block is. Do you know who
Hoonigan.
Ken Block is? Yeah, Hoonigan.
Hoonigan, yeah.
So
Man,
Hoonigan,
I love that dude's videos.
yeah,
That
all that stuff, the Gymkhana stuff.
yeah, man, my favorite one, like I've seen it, I've watched them all a bunch, but my favorite one is the one where he's driving through Detroit. Like I just love number one, like there's so much automotive history there in Detroit already, and then like he does that, like it's just and it's crazy just how well he did it too.
Yeah. I mean, completely revolutionary, right? I mean, I think he really was the first one to use YouTube that way.
Yeah, I think you are correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach was really a good he was the driver of all their social media content.
Oh, okay.
So he was sort of Ken Block's right-hand man in many of the videos and was the one who was sort of managing their YouTube page, as far as I understand. So we ended up meeting up with him in the Kubota booth. We just happened to be walking by and we saw um, one of the cars. I forget, and I'm drawing a blank, but it was one of the cars that was in the video. They had it on display there at the Kubota booth. So
The
Ben and I walked.
Hoonicorn,
Yes, yeah,
the Hoonicorn, the Mustang.
the unicorn. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we happened to walk in there because Ben and I are both like, we snowmobile, we do side by sides. We kind of like we like that stuff. And so we walked in there and just Zach happened to be there and we were like, he's like, what do you guys do? And we're like, oh, we install epoxy floors and we Ghostshield and this and that and just kind of having small talk. And he's like, hey man, I'm opening up a new shop. He's like, would you guys love to come out and do it? And we were like, yeah, sure, why not? So we flew out to California at the beginning of last year and we put in a floor. And if you go on YouTube and you go to Zach's page, we documented the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, and it was really our first big floor. We were probably, if I'm being honest, we were probably in over our head. I mean, we were like, never really done a metallic floor to that size. It had no knew that it was being documented, but let's just go big. That's the way we do it. Let's just, this is fun. Zach's a good guy, and let's turn this into something. We just brought a videographer on, and we brought him with us, and we had a blast putting that floor in. And I think that that was a launching pad to getting into the let's call it like the motorsports industry,
Yeah.
because we later went on to sponsor Burnout Wars. I don't know if you're familiar with Burnout Wars, but we went down to
Haven't heard that one yet.
yeah. So Zach and Lacey from the Diesel Brothers. I don't know, you know who the Diesel Brothers are?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Lacey used to be on the Diesel Brothers. So her husband and Zach do this Burnout Wars, which is a big competition, and they show up at these motorsports events where they have these burnout competitions, and
Hmm.
we sponsored the event, gave the grand prize away. So um, that was fun. And I think that just, then the Diesel Brothers wanted us to come and do their airport hangar. And then,
They do everything big. They don't do anything small.
no, no, I know, seriously, that's what we were saying. We're like, we're going to be doing an airport hangar. This is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I mean, how big of an airport hangar?
Yeah.
But then Jeremy Steinberg called us and he wanted to do his new garage that he was putting in his, motocross, this new house he was building down in Southern California. So we went out there and did his floor.
And all this happened last year?
This was all last year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and just it just kept coming because more recently, and I don't know when this will air, but more recently we were contacted by you know who Cletus McFarlane is?
Yeah. Yeah, the vice grips guy.
Yeah, no, so he's Vice Grips. No, he's a YouTube star, but he just started racing NASCAR,
Yeah,
and
but didn't he own, or it was at first it was Vice Grips Garage or something like that? Wasn't that his YouTube handle?
yeah, maybe when he
Kind of
was
a
working.
Southern guy with a pretty pronounced Southern accent.
Yeah, he's got like curly hair. He's got millions of followers.
Yeah.
He's got like the Freedom Factory that he just put together. He bought an old racetrack down in Florida,
Hmm.
and he's turned it into what he's calling the Freedom Center or the Freedom Factory, and then he just raced his first NASCAR race, I guess, a couple months ago, and
I know, no, I'm thinking of somebody else, but I know who you're talking about because he was in. I think he was on some of those roadkill shows a couple times with
yeah,
those guy,
maybe,
with the guys from Motor Trend. I think so.
maybe, maybe, yeah. I mean, I know of him because he's just so big on YouTube. I
Hmm.
don't watch any of his videos, if I'm being totally honest. I
Yeah.
mean, but he contacted us because he just built a place down in Florida and wants his hangar done. So we're gonna go down and do his hangar. So we're finding that people in the motorsports industry
Hmm.
are attracted to the floors that we're doing. And for us, it feels like home because I used to race motocross and I still do stuff now, and it's a lot of fun to be around that stuff. And when you're comfortable around those people and you're comfortable, installing the floors and you're passionate about what you do, everyone shares a passion,
Hmm.
then it just makes work a lot more fun.
Yeah. Are they are these these airport hangars you've been talking about? Are they most people wanting the metallic floor? Are they going with the flake floor in most of these, or what kind of flooring are they looking for?
Well, I ended up designing a custom floor for the Freedom Factory, and
Gotcha.
it's like a mixture of solid and flake.
Oh, okay.
He was, he wanted to do something clean. He wanted to do a white flake, and I saw that he had purchased a blue helicopter and a blue plane. So
Hmm.
I was, I basically like designed the floor with the logo in the floor, the FF in blue to match,
Hmm.
the plane and the helicopter. So it should be fun. We're actually heading down to do it in a few months. So
Okay, cool.
uh,
Um, to back up just a little bit,
yeah.
how long have you been with Ghost Shield, and what did you do before that? Like, what's your like? Tell me your life story, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can talk all day, but I'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. So ironically enough, when I, got out of college, I was actually a clothing designer. I designed sports license apparel for about 10 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
a company called Twins Enterprise, which is now 47 brand.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what you were gonna say, but I didn't think it was gonna be that a clothing
Yeah.
designer.
Most people are surprised. They're like, "What do you mean clothing? You were a clothing designer." And I said, "Yes, I was a clothing designer, but it was sports license apparel." And so,
Okay.
sports. So, you're around Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA,
Hmm.
but you're designing sports license apparel. And that was a lot of fun. I did that for 10 years and then got into that sort of was the bridge to marketing because as I was developing those and designing those clothes and leading the creative team, um, I was trying to understand the market, people, like
Hmm.
people who wear clothing. I mean, it's probably the most personal decision that people make. And you really got to understand like what makes people different, what would they wear, what would they not wear, and every distribution channel that we supplied to had a different customer with a different price point. And, we served, the upstairs market, the downstairs market, the urban market. And so when I'm designing all this stuff, I really got to understand the motivations, the style, the people, the finance behind it. Are they fair weather fans? Are they hardcore fans? And all that comes into play when you're designing, apparel for them. And
Hmm.
so I think that was the bridge to marketing and understanding the market space and how to apply product to a market. Like how do you fill a hole
Hmm.
or how do you design towards a person or
Yeah.
group of people? And so from there, after I left, I went into uh, business with a buddy of mine. We started a brand called Moldex, and Moldex was actually mold cleaning and remediation chemicals. And I know, right? I mean, you
You
go
were all
from
over the place, man.
clothing to mold and mildew,
Yeah.
clothing to mold and mildew. But we designed this Moldex brand, and then we launched it into Home Depot. We were in 500 stores.
Mhm.
And that was our first success story that got us into True Value, then got us into Menards, then got us into Ace Hardware. And so we grew this Moldex brand to, several $1 million, and then we ended up selling it to Rust-Oleum.
Oh, okay.
Everyone knows Rust-Oleum, right?
Yeah.
Big huge conglomerate. Well, I worked for them for a couple of years on their cleaners platform because all the products that were in the Moldex um, you know, the Moldex portfolio was all cleaners.
Hmm.
So that's really where I get into hardware. But, I often joke about it when I tell people when I used to go to all the fashion shows, it was like celebrities and women and clothing and, fame and fortune. And then I go to the hardware show and it's like old men, like
Yeah.
no women.
Where the
You
ladies
couldn't
at,
get any more
guys?
opposite.
This is
You
a
couldn't get any
sausage
more opposite.
factory in here.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot get any more opposite. But it was I did that for about 8 years, and then went on to my own as a marketing consultant for like 7 years. And I'm kind of dating myself here, but um, then for a few years was involved with this company called Detrapel, and Detrapel we were actually on Shark Tank and cut a deal with Lori. and Mark Cuban, and it was a shoe repellent. It was like it was sort of like Scotch Guard. You're familiar with Scotch Guard, right?
Yeah.
So like water repellent for fabric.
Okay. Hmm.
But this water repellent made was unique because it didn't have any fluorochemistry in it, no PFAS, which is what everyone's outlawing right now.
Hmm.
So at the time, this was about 8 years ago, there was really, no one in that market space. And so we ended up cutting a deal with them, but I ended up leaving them because the formulation, probably wasn't retail ready. And that's how I found Go Shield. When I was trying to help reformulate that product with their chemistry team, I ran into Ben, who is the CEO here at Go Shield, and it was while I was basically trying to find a silane, a local supplier of silanes.
Okay.
And so I
I
met
did
up
not
with him.
know that Ben was the CEO.
Yeah, Ben's the CEO of Go Shield.
Is he the owner?
He's the owner, yeah.
He's the owner, CEO. Wow.
Yeah, him and his wife own the business.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
well, that makes it that explains like why he's uh easily able to get me things. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I thought he was just like some, not I don't want to like say like he had a low position. I just thought he was just some dude that worked there.
Yeah,
I did not
no.
know. Ben, I didn't know you were the CEO, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Did he start the company?
Yeah, he started the company, him and his wife, in like 2012 or so.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And he's a hard worker, man. I mean, we're all hard workers here. I could not be more proud of the team and the people we're around. We're a lean and mighty team. We always say, like, how big is your marketing team? How many sales guys do you have? And we tell them, and they're always surprised because, um, you know, I think the brand is well put together. It's something that we're all proud of. And,
Yeah.
I think, Ben's obviously, very active
Hmm.
in the industry. He loves what he's doing. We all do. And I think that that's a huge driver to the early success that we're finding.
You know what I love about him, and is he, and it makes me like him even more since now that I know he's the CEO slash owner slash like creator. Like, but if I call him, he picks up the phone, and if he doesn't, he calls me right back.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
answering my text messages at like 11 o'clock at night. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
with me doing mostly businesses, most of my work is nights, holidays, weekends. That's when I do most of my work. And so, like, I'll be thinking about something. It won't be necessary. Now I feel like a jerk, kind of, because it will be like completely unnecessary. It could wait until tomorrow, but it'll be like 11:30, and I'll send him a text message. Hey, do you think this would work on blah blah blah? And then within a few minutes, I get a response. So,
Yeah.
man, you're
He loves what he's doing, man. I mean, like I said, we all do. I mean, we all try to, I know, like, I remember the crossover, not here, but when you own your own business, or you have in the past, I think you become accustomed to picking up the phone, answering text, emails. And I guess I've been doing it for so long, maybe because I had my own thing for such a long time, that I just expect everyone else does that too. But maybe, and maybe that, I don't know. I just remember the crossover into always being on,
yeah.
always being
Well,
on.
if you own your own business, like if you want to be successful, you got to answer that phone. You got to answer the phone. You got to talk to people. You got to do your thing. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful. You're not gonna grow, and you'll just be stagnant. So,
Yeah, and you don't know if that phone call or that email or that text is the next huge opportunity
hmm
that could, spring pad the whole business. I mean,
hmm
if there's one thing I've learned and I've seen over the years is that walking through World of Concrete and running into Zach has springboarded EpoxyMax far beyond what I thought it could ever. And so, what happens if we just didn't go for the walk through that booth?
hmm
It's just you just don't know what you don't know.
yeah, yeah.
And I think as people get older, I think they find more excuses to not be an adventurer.
hmm
But I think if you approach life like it's an adventure and you're always um, picking up the rocks and looking underneath them, I think that's when you find gold, man. That's when you find the gold.
Yeah. Well, you said something earlier, like you like what you do, um, and the people around you, they like what they do, and then things kind of coincide, and then something magical kind of happens. And I don't want to make it sound fanciful, but like when you like what you do, they say you don't work a day in your life, and that's kind of true. But also, like if you like what you do, you're always working.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
always working, and
And look, we all have those days where we don't want, like, we're tired, or, like you're looking forward to the pool,
mhm,
like after, I mean, there's those, you got to have some downtime to recharge, right?
yeah.
But I think it's that feeling like,
Even when I go on
do
vacation,
I want
I'm
to do
still
this, or
working.
I
We
do
went
it?
on vacation like a month ago, and I spent so much time just on my phone and on my laptop, like just trying, like because I like working. I like what I do, and and I didn't feel like work. It just felt like I got nothing else to do right now. I'm sitting by the pool. My kids are swimming, but like I can do what I want to do, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you,
So,
dude. Good for you.
yeah.
I will
So,
say though, I will say though, when I was a marketing consultant and I was working from my house,
hmm
uh, I had to work really hard to be disciplined at shutting it off and turning it on. Um, I can remember when my oldest, she's 13 now, 14, she was an infant, and I remember it was just multiple Saturdays and Sundays. She's bebopping around the yard, running through the grass or whatever. And my head's down on my phone answering emails. And my wife's like, "Oh, what do you want to do today? Look at Addison, because my daughter's name is Addison.
hmm
Look at Addison, going down the slide." And I'm like, "Yeah, hold on one second." And I just remember doing that a few times, thinking, if I continue to do this, I'm gonna miss her entire childhood. And
and it
I
goes
have
by
to learn,
quick.
yeah, I have to learn how to turn it on and shut it,
Yeah.
and shut it off. And that's a big challenge. I mean, that's a big challenge. I decided to come work at Go Shield, to be honest. I decided to come work at Go Shield because I wanted a little bit more of my time back. It's closer to my home, and thought it was a good move. Figured I could help a small business because I had grown a few small businesses, and it would be a relatively easy thing, and I could, take my foot off the gas.
hmm
But I fell in love with the place, the brand. I fell in love with the work, the type of work, and just like anything I do, I find myself. It's hard to turn off. It's hard to take my foot off the throttle because that's just what I'm. That's just the way I operate.
Yeah.
So- and I feel like now more than ever, I'm excited about coming to work every day.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, that's important though. I mean, if I don't, you probably don't know this, but oh, you may have. You've listened to a couple of these podcasts, but like
Yeah, this is
I had a career outside of floors for a while where I worked at Walmart, and
okay.
what happened was I got sick. I broke my leg in a motorcycle wreck.
Okay.
Bent it backwards at the knee. Fully self-employed, just doing floors and no insurance, no nothing. And
Oh,
at the time,
man.
I was freshly divorced, and I kind of rehabilitated from that a little bit, but it wasn't quite right. And then uh, Walmart actually contacted me. A local Walmart contacted me about helping them with their VCT as a contractor. So I did that for a little while, and that was great. I made really good money because their floors were in bad shape. Long story short, fast forward a little bit, got sick again, like physically sick with pneumonia, and it shut me down for like a month and a half. Like I was in the ICU for a while, and I'm giving you a lot of backstory. You don't need it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
I tend to ramble, but my wife, we were about to get married, and Walmart offered me a job, so I went to work at Walmart, and I worked at Walmart for going on 8 years. I did floors on the side still. Never quit doing floors, but I did. I was my entire tenure at Walmart. I was a manager of some sort, whether it be hourly or salary. So I consistently worked at least 40 hours a week. Most of the time it was 45, 50. As a salaried manager, it was always 60, sometimes closer to 65 or 70. And I worked
Crazy.
in like 5 or 6 locations, did a bunch of different things. A lot of it was floor work sometimes, but I also like I was a salary member of management. My next step, if I'd have stayed, my next step would have been store manager, blah blah blah. And it wasn't a bad career. Like, Chattanooga, Tennessee, guy who barely finished high school, did not go to college, spent most of his life as a quote unquote glorified janitor. When I left Walmart, I was making 75,000 a year plus bonus, which the bonus could be anywhere between 5 to 15,000 depending on various factors, which is part of the reason
Yeah,
why I quit. But
it's pretty good money though.
it wasn't bad. I don't have bad things to say about Walmart. Like if you didn't go to college and you don't know what you want to do and you have a little bit of drive, Walmart will take care of you. They're going to work you. They'll work you to
Right.
death, especially if
Yeah.
you're salary, man. You're there.
You
But
ever read you ever read the book The Walmart Effect?
no, never did. I've heard of it. I remember people talking about it, but I never did read that. I read Mr. Sam's book, Sam Walton's book, but I never read that one. But
Yeah. Well, if you ever get a chance, I mean, but go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
oh no, no, you're fine. What I was just gonna say is like you look forward to coming to work. There was my favorite store I worked for, which was actually in Georgia, like right across the state line into Georgia, in a place called Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Favorite
Okay.
store. Uh, had Walmart not changed their policies, I may not have quit. I may have eventually, based on the floor business, but I quit kind of because of policies. Like I just wasn't happy anymore. But I never felt like I don't want to go to work today. Like I never had that like drive up, sit in the parking lot in my truck and just kind of sit and look at the windshield like, why am I doing this? But I definitely had some stores that I worked at because I worked at various ones where there was a good like 5 to 10 minute negotiating with the steering wheel before I got out of the vehicle to go into the building. Like, do I really want to do this? But the same thing with being self-employed now. I don't have that. Like for the most part, I enjoy going to work and I enjoy like, you know, these new challenges. And as a guy that did VCT for years and 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 years, the idea of doing epoxy, like I like doing it. So when I get them, I get really excited about it, even though it's a million degrees outside and I'm pretty sure I got heat exhaustion last week.
Oh my God, yeah.
I still enjoy doing it.
Yeah, yeah. It I enjoy doing it too. I mean, there's been many nights like Ben and I are 2 in the morning
Mhm.
on our hands and knees sanding a floor. And believe me, there's been times where I'm like, what am I doing?
Mhm.
And then I'm like, I have to be in the office at 6 o'clock tomorrow or 7 o'clock tomorrow. And him and I are, but there's memories built there. There's a lot of, you know, fun. I
Mhm.
mean, it's funny because like there's, we always say, well, we got a floor coming up and we're like, okay, do we want to do this floor or do we not want to do this floor? What's the schedule? I mean, we have a lot going on as a company that doesn't necessarily revolve around installation of floors.
Yeah.
I mean, today's actually a pretty big day here today. I don't know if you saw, but
Yes, I was
um,
going to ask you about that.
yeah, yeah. So today at noon, we're now officially in sweepstakes mode.
Hmm.
We are raffling off, well, not raffle. We are giving away a 2025 GMC Hummer EV. It's a big promotion that starts today at noon, and we're it's going to run until the end of the year, so December 31st. Anyone that buys a qualifying EpoxyMax product, like our EpoxyMax 100 or our Polyaspartic 930, or our VaporTech 440, and then given my clothing background, I designed a bunch of shirts that all have some what I find to be like resin lifestyle sayings and illustrations. um, those you buy those t-shirts, you qualify. But essentially, when you buy each one of these items that you buy, you get entered. You get 10 entries into this Hummer giveaway, and at the end of the year, we're gonna raffle it off and give it away to one lucky customer.
10
Um,
entries per purchase or 10 entries total across the 6 months?
so if you buy an Epoxy Max kit today, It's 10 entries. If you buy two, it's 20 entries. If you
Oh,
buy
okay. So per
10,
item. Nice. Okay.
yeah, so it's per item. You can
Well,
buy a
I'm
bunch.
actually, I'm actually, I'm actually going to be buying some stuff today. Or actually, I sent what I needed to Ben a couple days ago. I don't know if he actually ordered it for me or not. Maybe he waited until today because he said he might. So he may be waiting until today to order for me.
Yeah, what do you need? What'd you order?
Uh, I already have at the house. I have one kit, EpoxyMax, but I ordered another EpoxyMax kit, two polyaspartic kits, and then two color pigments. I got a
Yeah.
I got a 400 square foot garage next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you doing, is it solid? Solid color?
Yeah, yeah, solid.
Oh,
I already have the flakes. I get a pretty good. There's a place here where I can get like 40 pounds of flake for like $100. So
yeah,
and I can just pick it up and it's just there. So
right. Yeah, the volume deals are good, right?
yeah.
We're not in the volume game with the flakes yet.
So I want to ask you. So you guys, uh, Ben owns Ghostshield. He's the CEO. You're the marketing director. You both partnered on the Epoxy Max. Like, so do you get? But you also are talking installs. Do you have an install and a Ghost Shield install crew, or do you just try to keep that in house? Maybe the two of you guys and some helpers that may also work there as well, or do you sub it out to other people and you guys just kind of attach on to it because they're using your product and whatnot, or how does that actually work?
Yeah, so a little insight into that is we kind of do a little bit of all of that.
Hmm.
It really just depends on the project. Like I said, when Ben and I first got into this, we were doing all the projects ourselves, and we do have a few guys in our warehouse that showed interest and
Hmm.
wanted to learn. So we would bring them on the projects with us and train them. And we've got one guy. His name is Jay. I mean, Jay, I can't speak high. I mean, I can't speak high enough about him. He's been a great addition to our install piece. And he, at this point, is probably the one who's leading most of the jobs
Hmm.
when we get them. But, like I said, this was a side thing for us. And really, the focus was to get content for our social media channels.
Yeah.
But the local demand has increased pretty significantly. So, we up until a few weeks ago really didn't do any marketing other than just managing our Instagram account, and things were happening pretty organically. And like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, we've had a few classes where we've brought people in local, and some people from different parts of the country, but quite a few local epoxy installers have come and taken our class, and a few of them have decided that they want to be part of the EpoxyMax team. And so right now we're doing what's called, we are calling it, I call it a franchise only because people understand what the word franchise means,
Hmm.
but it's not a franchise. You're independently owned. Um, it's sort of a licensing agreement if you think about it that way. Um, Basically, like you would say, I want to be part of the EpoxyMax team. I want to put EpoxyMax on my trailer and wear all the EpoxyMax attire, and I want to get trained by you guys, and I want to understand the products, and hopefully, and then as part of that, we provide them leads. So I'll run local ad campaigns, and I'll provide them leads to local projects. So we're really, trying to fuel the movement of product, and also trying to standardize installation,
Hmm.
and trying to bring people into this industry, that really, that have some guidance. I mean, when we first got into it, and we even still sometimes say it now, it's like the Wild West out there in the epoxy business. I mean, there's different people doing different things, different companies recommend different application methods and have different, approaches to things. I feel like anyone that gets into the epoxy game really needs a few years to work through what every epoxy installer faces, which is, how do I get rid of bubbles? Why am I getting bubbles?
Hmm.
What's a good prep, scenario? What do I do in this situation?
Hmm.
And these questions come up from job to job, and I think, most of us who have been in the industry, know what I'm talking about. But what seems like a very simple process, or is not a very simple process, and I
Well, the
think people learn.
troubleshooting that just kind of comes along with it. That's the knowledge. Like Anybody can watch a YouTube video on how to put epoxy down. It's the troubleshooting when something goes sideways when it because it always does. So I think we
Yeah.
talked about this on the phone the other day. Like I'm that guy. Like I have to do it wrong before I can do it right. I have to. You can tell me the right way to do it, but I just
I
I
know.
can't I cannot listen to you. I have to do it wrong.
I
And
said
then
you were a
I'll
Ghostbuster.
call you back and be like, Brian, you were right. I did it wrong. Now I did it the right way, and it was way easier every time.
Well, now you know. But now you know.
But now it just sticks with me better that way. Like I don't get it. That's just my stupid brain. But yeah, that you're right though that you figuring out that troubleshooting and like it seems simple and it is, but it's the you know when things just kind of happen like learning how to troubleshoot on the fly like really quickly. I utilized some of your moisture vapor barrier, the 440 last week,
Yeah. How did you
and
like it?
I basically threw away probably 2 gallons because it sat in the pot too long.
Yeah.
I tried to
Yeah.
do the edge. I like to try to do my edges first, and
Hmm.
I poured out on the edge, and I had a funky edge, and so like I had to spend a little bit more time on it. Probably wasn't from finishing mixing to when I discovered had already turned. It was probably 15 minutes, but that was enough. It was useless at that point.
Yeah, I mean, epoxy gets hot when it's in a can or when it's in a bucket. It's going to get hot. You know, you really want to get it out on the floor as fast as you can to keep the heat from being generated. And
And now I know.
and now you know, right?
Now
Yeah.
I
I
know.
mean, we all like I always when we're doing edging, I'm always, pre-mix a kit, 1 gallon or something, and then it's, I mean, I find epoxy tough to do as one person. And
Mhm.
I can do it. I think, most people can, but I love I don't know what it is about it, but I love to set it up like a machine.
Yeah.
And like when we do, for example, metallic floor, like a large one,
Mhm.
uh, because I have the art background, I tend to choose the colors, and everyone kind of, Brian, what do you think we need to do for colors? And this is, and I don't try to complicate it, but geez, I complicate it because I just want cool colors.
Yeah.
But the challenge to me is creating the machine that puts that floor down in the most efficient possible way,
Mhm.
and everyone working together as a team so that when we all finish, everyone is like not only super excited about it, but also like impressed with themselves, impressed with the team,
Yeah.
impressed with the floor, impressed with because to me, that's the payoff. That's the payoff with
Yeah,
epoxy.
man. I say that all the time. Like that's part of the reason why I love doing what I do, whether it be epoxy or VCT. Like I like the before and after. I like that. I like looking back and you're like, yeah, I did that. And like to your point, like my buddy, his name is Tim. He helps me a lot. He works for me full time doing VCT, and then he's started this year helping me with epoxy too. And he's same thing. Like when we're done, he's like, man, this looks so. He's like, I didn't think it was gonna look this good, and it always does. And then to that point too, it's like even more than how much I like it, I like seeing just a happy customer, man. Like a happy, you know, I didn't think it was going to look like this. Like I sincerely, I don't know what I expected, but I didn't know it was going to look like that, you know?
Well, I tell a lot of our students, like I had a call yesterday or a text this morning, probably a bit of both. They'll say, I'm showing a customer a product. Can you make some samples for me? I mean, I thought it was an interesting request, but, and which I will. I mean, I'll help customers if they need it, but I always say to someone like, you shouldn't show them floors that you're not comfortable recreating
Yeah.
because you're setting yourself up for a challenge that may be unattainable. Because, metallic especially, it's a bit of an art form, and everyone has a different technique. And I think even if given the same conditions with the same product and the same, colors, you could get two totally different floors with two different people, even if they're on the same crew.
Hmm.
So I always tell people like, show floors that you're comfortable recreating. And I think that you need to make the sample because you have to set the expectation for not only yourself and figuring out the challenges that you're going to face the day that you're installing that floor,
Hmm.
but you also need to be able to show the customer, how you do it. And they need to sign off on that because there are quite a few installers that I've had conversations with who have said, the customer gave me this photo and I tried to recreate it. It just wasn't going to happen. And they didn't pay me
Oh,
um, because they were disappointed. And, I've seen that too many times. And so, I try to explain to installers who are getting into the business that they really need to write up a contract um, that that in a way relinquishes them from that sort of expectation because you know if a customer says this is the floor I want, I mean, unless you're pretty confident that you can recreate it, I
mhm.
would walk away from it. And I know it's hard to walk away from, but um,
Yeah.
you're really just opening yourself up because it's art. You have to set the table. You have to say it is. I have no control over the way this floor is going to look.
Mhm. I had a there's a local contractor here. He's actually newer than I am in the business in epoxy. Like he's only been doing it like a year or two, and he doesn't even have a floor grinder yet. Like he uses just a hand grinder for everything. And he he found me, I think, just by Google search, I believe, and he had done a metallic floor uh, on a house and like a year ago, and was constantly having to go back and redo this and redo that and redo this and redo that. And then he contacted me. He just wanted me to clean the floor and put a coat of wax on it and see if that
Right.
pleased the customer. And that's what I did. And the customer was, semi pleased, but I think he washed his hands clean of them. Long story short, he called me later on. He's like, "Hey, I got a barn dominium we're gonna do, and I'm gonna do a metallic floor on it. It's 2,000 square foot. Would you want to come and just grind it for me? That way, I don't have to do it with a hand grinder."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I can do that." And then so we scheduled it. It was actually going to be for the 4th of July week, and like it got right up to it. And he's like, we have to we have to cancel because they keep not liking my sample boards. Like he keeps making different samples and they keep not liking his samples. And so just that what you were saying then just made me think of that. Like he said he's made up probably like 5 or 6 different samples and taken it over there, and they like one initially, then they don't like one, and then they want something else, and it's like ugh.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, metallics are, I feel like they're hit and miss. I think most people will probably tell you that. You either make a killing on it and it comes out great and everyone loves it, or the customer or someone is insistent upon something that is probably not going to look good. So you really have to be careful around that. That's what
Yeah.
I always,
I've only
suggest.
done 3. I did first one I did was a restaurant, which is like your first metallic floor restaurant.
Yeah.
I
What
did
was it like? You tell me about it, I guess.
I had to I had to redo it. Like
Yeah.
I did it
Yeah.
twice. I did it once, and it wasn't that they didn't like the design. It's just the colors. When they got the colors that they picked the colors, not me. We got it on the ground. They said it looks great. Like physically, like we like how it looks, but it's not what we had in mind. So
Yeah.
we kind of went back to the drawing board with some more colors with I'll send you some pictures. It turned out
Oh,
really
that's
cool looking. Like I ended up calling a buddy of mine. Actually, the guy who got me into concrete epoxy like years back, like I called him. He's in Nashville, and I said, "Hey, can you come down here and I'll supply everything. I just need your kind of like expertise to make sure I kind of get it all right. I want it to go right the next time." So I called him. He came down, and we spent it wasn't long. We just one afternoon we had it done, but I'll send you some pictures. But it turned out good the next time, and they were looking. It's like an old. It's in downtown Chattanooga. It's a business it's a restaurant that opened in like the early '60s,
okay.
and it's owned by the same family for the same amount of time, and it's like soul food. And so the last time it was really remodeled was like in the like the mid early '80s, I guess. So it still has like that early '80s look. And so they were looking for like these like really bright like goldish colors and kind of like not psychedelic, but kind of. But I'll send you some pictures. There's a lot of gold. There's like this gold base, and I was really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, how
But
did you do it? What was the technique?
uh, Well, like I mean, we did it just like any other floor. Like I did. What colors did we do? It's been a year and a half since I did that one. I can barely remember, but we did it. It was mostly a gold base floor, and then we
Yeah.
did veins of like a blackish gray, and then like droplets of blue here and there. And I'll send you some pictures.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to see it.
And then I
Definitely.
did it. Then I did it just a couple of rooms in a house, and they turned out nicely. The customer was really happy, and I haven't done any since. I don't market for the. Well, I don't market really in general. I did like literally last week sign up for Facebook leads, just to Facebook ads, just to see if it would do anything. But other than that, I don't really market. So, and when I do market for on the Facebook, it was mostly for flake floors, not for a metallic floor.
Yeah.
I do. So I did order just an EpoxyMax kit last week, just one kit, just to have because I had some neighbors, two different neighbors actually. They were giving away tables, like these wooden one's a round table and one's a square, rectangular wooden table. And so I just took them and put them in my garage. I'm gonna start focusing on trying to do some like a metallic tabletop and just to see how it looks. And number one, to give me some practice, and number two, just to see if I can. Why not? Free tables.
Right. What would you say has been the biggest challenge as you get into epoxy?
I mean, finding the work, like finding the work's been kind of hard. But like I said, I don't want to like to advertise. I don't want to pay for leads. I don't want to pay for that kind of stuff. That's been kind of hard. Making the transition from VCT to epoxy was pretty easy because I have such a eye for working on floors already. I guess like everywhere I go, I'm looking down.
Yeah.
But the hardest part for me is just finding the work. Like in Chattanooga, I don't think there's a lot of there are a lot of installers, but I don't think it's as saturated as some of the larger cities are. Like I know Nashville is saturated. I know Knoxville is saturated. I know Memphis is saturated. I know Atlanta's saturated. Chattanooga, I don't think it's so saturated. But to kind of bring it back to what you were talking about before with people kind of quote unquote franchising, not a franchise, but it is to a certain degree. Chattanooga would benefit from something like that because we don't have an epoxy supplier here. Not as far as I know. I can tell. I've looked, but all I can find is Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore and
Yeah.
some other local places that sell a version, but they're not specific. They're mostly paint stores that can get you epoxy. And
Well, we're in talks right now with someone down there. So we are, it's interesting because EpoxyMax, again, EpoxyMax has become this, it's a product, EpoxyMax 100, and
mhm,
then it's an install piece of our business, of Ghostshield. It's an install arm. That's what it started off as our install business locally.
mhm.
And now it's branched out into these license agreements where installers around the country are licensing our name and we're providing them leads. And now we're in the phase of growing retail stores.
Mhm.
So there's EpoxyMax distributors and retail stores that are popping up all over the country. We
How
it's just
many?
go
Sorry,
ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. How many licensed guys do you have out there, and how many retail stores are popping up out there right now?
That's a good question. So all of our licensed guys are local. So we have three guys that are like signed the contract.
Okay.
We've got two more guys who um, are contemplating coming aboard. And so that's, and we've had it's a little bit harder for us, because it's not a focal point.
Mhm.
Hasn't been a focal point. The actual, let's call it business license franchise piece of this.
Mhm.
Uh, that has sort of happened organically as we have been having training classes. And um, but the distributor locations, we just opened up our ninth location um, last week. We actually shipped a bunch of product down to them. Um, so actually, there's three locations we opened up with one customer. And if you ever heard of Lone Star Decorative, the
Mhm.
Lone Star Decorative, their home office is out of Texas, and they have I think five locations across the country, and they've decided to put Epoxy Max in three of their locations: the one in Corpus Christi, Austin, and Denver, Colorado. So, what we like to do is we sort of have like two or three different store, let's call it store size, or let's say like investment size, or a lot of it's dependent upon what products they carry, if any, existing. Like in other words, are they distributing some of our competitors or other products within the market?
Hmm.
And are they looking to add EpoxyMax and Ghostshield to their already established business?
Hmm.
Or in some cases, they're brand new stores, full EpoxyMax and Ghostshield, branded EpoxyMax and Ghostshield when you walk through the door. And we have two of those, and the other ones are distributors that have an EpoxyMax section, a Ghostshield and EpoxyMax section within the store. So when you walk in, there's the EpoxyMax logo, all of our products, our tooling, all of our, metallics, all of our coatings, all of our marketing materials. A couple of them have some grinders that um, we've branded Maximus Grind. I don't know. Did you
Yeah.
see the Maximus Grind promo video that our video guy put together?
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, so cool, right?
Yeah, yeah, and those are one things I want to ask you about while we're talking. I do want to get to those grinders because I want to hear your opinions on those and some of the facts on those. Going back, still continue to still talking about the distribute distributing
Yep.
and like retail locations. Like, what what are your requirements for those? Like, what I'm sure there has to be. I'm sure there's a financial requirement, and then you probably um, want to have like somewhat of a say so, and like if they're a full blown retail like Epoxy Max store, I'm sure you guys want to have a little bit of say so on how and where and what, you know.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started approaching distributors, pushing the Epoxy Max stores, we were more likely to be flexible because
Hmm.
we're trying to get product out there. We're trying to get our name out there.
Hmm.
So we had these micro stores,
Hmm.
like these are the best of the best. We know we're going to sell Epoxy Max 100. We know we're going to sell polyaspartic. We know we're going to sell our vapor barrier. And there was far less of an investment because there was far less product and many
Hmm.
less solutions. And in many cases, because it was an unproven brand, not that we're a proven brand yet or now, but we've come a little bit further along within the last, year or so. Um, the requirements, have increased a little bit. I mean, um, we're now opening up our first store, and it's, like I want to say that store to outfit it with all the products, because we've opened a few now, and again, like I remember having this conversation with Ben, and I'm like, I don't want, see, I have this history with hardware, and I know with Home Depot and Lowe's, and I know that, it's great to close the deal and to get $100,000 worth of product in on your opening order. As a manufacturer and a marketer, it's a great, and even if you're in sales, I mean, it's a great feeling as a company to like see that PO come in and be like, all right, man, we're on the way to making it. This
Hmm.
product's going to be everywhere. And then you realize that there is a huge amount of marketing and support that needs to go in to move the product off the shelf. There's a push strategy and a pull strategy.
Hmm.
And many companies who are getting into the industry are only thinking about the push strategy and they're not thinking about the pull strategy because the pull strategy is expensive. I mean, it's really difficult to get people to come in and want your product and
Hmm.
ask for it, you know?
Hmm.
So, and I learned that in my years with Moldex. I mean, mold is not exciting and no one is chomping at the bit to go to Home Depot and buy Moldex. I mean,
Yeah.
why do I need it? So you walk in there and it's like, okay, what should I use? Well, Moldex is the brand, so that's what we have on the shelf. I mean, there's millions of solutions. So, um, I went down that rabbit hole there with Moldex, but I guess my point is, I felt as though I didn't want to put a new distributor in the position of having too much inventory and not moving it out. And
Yeah.
then, that not only puts a poor taste in their mouth about what it is we're trying to do, but it also puts a lot of pressure on us to make sure that we're moving the product through. And if it doesn't move through, what do we do with that product? Well, do we have to take it back? Do we have to put it somewhere else? So I tend at the beginning, I tend to want to go light. And I say, let's just put these SKUs in that we know are going to move, that
Mhm.
that people are already aware of. There's no real risk here. So, let's make it affordable. Let's make it easy to reorder. Let's have one pallet minimums. Let's just build some success here, get some numbers under our belt, and find out what a store can do and what we need to do in order to support the store. So the first few stores were definitely like that.
Yeah. Well, the
Uh,
reason I ask is I think like obviously I'm not a subject matter expert on who's getting what and where, but Chattanooga is like a dead zone kind of when it comes to epoxy. Like I don't believe, and I should have probably actually looked it up before I got on here, but I have looked in the past. I haven't looked this year, but last year and the year before there was no distributors, no actual resinous flooring, no epoxy flooring, just straight up stores or distributors in Chattanooga. Just like I said, paint stores. You can get them at paint stores, but with Sherwin-Williams, you can't go into any paint store. Like you have to go to their commercial one, which there's probably 20 Sherwin-Williams in a 30-mile radius of here, but only
okay.
one that carries the epoxy. But that being said, Chattanooga is fourth largest city in Tennessee. Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, then Chattanooga.
Okay.
But no real epoxy distributor or store in Chattanooga. But you can be in Atlanta, Knoxville, Nashville, Birmingham, Huntsville, all within 2 hours or less. Most of them are less than 2 hours. But like seems like it
So
would be a great place to have an EpoxyMax dealer, like where you can just let's grab it.
yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully one day we're there. You
Hmm.
want to open up a store?
You know what? If just this doing the work itself and that just doesn't seem to work out, maybe. But
I mean, I don't know much about Chattanooga, but I mean, I'm
we
willing
have
to.
good beer. We have really
Yeah.
good beer.
I mean, I'm definitely willing to talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
let's take a look at some of the numbers. I don't. We have to look at what the population is and all that stuff too. But yeah, I mean, I would. We want to talk to everyone. I mean, I think, like I said earlier, no stone unturned. You're never going to find any gold if you're not turning the stones over. So
If you're not looking, you're not going to find it. You got to
yeah,
look.
you got to be a natural expeditionist.
You know what I like as well? When you were talking about shipping, every time I order from, usually when I need something, and that still surprises me that Ben's the CEO because I call him to order stuff. I'll be like, "Hey man, can I order blah blah blah?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, I got it." And then two business days later, it's at my house. So I'm calling the CEO to order stuff, and that's kind of blowing my mind because actually I called him a couple days ago, and I was like, "I need what I told you I was going to order for that garage next week. I need to order this stuff." I'm like, "Do I need to be bothering you with this?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah. Let me know what you need. I'll buy it. I'll get it for you."
Well, Ben might actually probably kill me for, telling everyone that he's the CEO because he's humble like that. I don't think he
Yeah,
really wants anyone to know. But
I
I
know.
get the same thing. I mean, I'm trying to find some marketing assistants and, we're a small team here. We like to wear a bunch of different hats. I
Hmm.
mean, I answer the phone, I take orders. This guy's calling me. Um, is just as much as they're calling anyone else here in the sales department. And
Hmm.
we're trying to find some marketing help, and those people got to be able to get on the phone too, and they got to know their product. And I think that's part of the training that I like to put everyone through when they come here. And
Hmm.
people here sometimes give me a hard time because when people come in, I'm like, okay, you're going to go through an extensive training. Go ahead, it's
No, no, no.
I'm
You just
rambling.
triggered something. I got things I wanted to ask, and I don't write things down because I'm stupid. And like if I just don't write things down, and so I think to myself, I'll just remember to ask. But training. What kind of training do you guys offer? Because Ben has mentioned training classes before, and I've never taken one. I know it doesn't show in my perfect work, uh, but
No,
what kind of training classes do you guys offer? Because
so
I
we try
think
to do.
so.
Go
What
ahead.
I've noticed, especially since starting this podcast, is there's a lot of guys that were like me that have done VCT. There's so many guys out there that do VCT that could do it, but they don't know where to start, and they don't like. they think they have this thought in their head like I can never do it because I just all I know how to do is swing a mop, and that's not the case. Like if you can make a VCT floor look good, you can make an epoxy floor look good. That's my theory.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with VCT to be honest. I wish I was.
It's like what you would see at a grocery store, the white 12-inch tiles, strip
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
wax it, blah blah blah.
No, I mean I know what VCT is. I just don't. I've never installed one, so I don't even know what
Gotcha.
goes into it.
It's not hard. I mean, I grew up doing it. So my history is my dad started a stripping and waxing business back in the 80s. And so basically when I was like old enough to push a broom around, I started walking around with him and like literally like this that was my whole life. Like from an early age, mostly businesses. So we from a very early age, like on Friday nights, I'd go to work with my dad. On the weekends, go to work with dad. The summer, go to work with dad. In fact, I didn't finish public high school. Like they pulled me out in like my junior year so I could work full time, and I finished in homeschool. Like
Oh,
yeah, I finished in homeschool so I could spend most of my time doing floors. And
okay. So your dad did floors too.
yeah. To tie in my previous story about Walmart is they had changed some of their policy, changed how I was going to get my raise, changed on how I was going to get my bonus, where it was not really based on my performance or my area's performance. It was mostly on total store performance and on the online grocery pickup area or the
Right.
grocery delivery area. And I didn't really like that because at the time I was the automotive manager. Like I managed the shop and it just didn't sit well with me, and I was getting to a point where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, and when you start feeling like you don't want to do it anymore, you shouldn't because you're not doing yourself or whoever you're working for any favors. And
Right.
at that time, my dad contacted me and said he was going to retire. He was done with floors. He didn't want to. He didn't want to. He did not want to look at another floor again ever. And he was going to sell the business, and he wanted to know if I knew anybody that would want to buy it. And I said, you know what? Me and my wife talked about it that night, and I said, I think I want to buy it. And so I bought it from him, quit Walmart, and I'm back doing floors again.
Ooh, nice. I mean, that's kind of it's interesting. I mean, I didn't have a great relationship with my dad, but I get jealous sometimes of people who did. So when you were explaining to me that, you were on the weekends working with your dad. I mean, my father was a truck driver, and I do remember being really young going on road trips with him.
Mhm.
Those are great memories for me. I don't know if you have great memories with your dad, but I think it would be cool. I hope my kids have great memories with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if I look back at it as great memories because it was work. And I was a
Yeah.
kid. And if I didn't want to go, I still had to go, you know?
Well, there's probably
Um,
so many great lessons there, though, for
but
you,
there
though.
there was like so I don't really look at it as like
Bonding time.
there was a little bit of bonding there, I guess, to a certain extent, especially on the nights when it was just us and we were just riding in the truck together. There was a little bit of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and but for the dad, if you're listening, like I don't think it's a secret. We weren't that close. Like we actually have gotten a lot closer like in the last like 4 to 5 years than we have probably my whole life. And then when we did like a full store, like floor restrip, like we didn't work, like we had a crew of guys. So I worked with other people. But to your point, it made me who I am today. And, my dad was a hard worker. He's retired from floors, but he's still working his ass off. And I got that from him. I got that from my grandfather too. Like both of my grandfathers pretty much worked until the day they died. Like
Yeah,
they did
yeah,
not stop working. And my dad, he won't stop working. He's had both of his hips replaced and he's still working. And I think I get that too, like where I gotta work.
yeah. So I don't know if it's a guy thing or if it's just, I don't know. You think you're gonna work all the way until you die too?
I don't know if I'll be doing floors all the way until I die, but like I think I'll be doing something. My problem is like if I sit down, I don't like getting up again.
You need to open up a store. I know a brand.
You know what? I've recently heard about a good brand that might be a good deal. We'll talk about it.
So what do
Speaking
you
of,
look for? Go ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead with your question.
I was gonna say, so like, what do you look for in like good partner manufacturer relationships? Like, what's important to you?
To be honest, like the way Ben has been with me since we've met. Like I've only known him like he reached out to me. He found me and sent me a Facebook message and reached out to me and back in February or March, I guess. He saw my video content and like I couldn't be I couldn't be happier with having him as not only my distributor but like as a resource. Like whenever I need something, it's not like tell me what you need and I get it for you. It's like what are you doing? He asked questions, what kind of floor, like the sizes and colors, and he asked me questions to make sure I'm getting the right product because I'm still new. Maybe I'm not getting the right product, you know.
Yeah.
I bought the moisture vapor barrier, based on his recommendations. I screwed it up, but that was me, not that was me, not him. Luckily, I had, I had extra, so we were able to finish the job without any problems. Um, but
But
and and
every
one thing I like too is like when he does order, when I do order from him, like 2 business days later, it's at my house. I'm not having to wait a week. So if I order some stuff today, it'll probably be here Monday morning, sometime.
Yeah, I mean, when they opened up the business in 2013,
Hmm.
you know, they saw a hole
Hmm.
uh, in the market. There were very few direct to consumer brands in this market space, and many of them were, I guess the word would be antiquated.
Hmm.
I mean, when you look at some of the bigger brands, and again, we're talking about not necessarily the epoxy business, but we're talking about the penetrating sealer market. What we consider ourselves, not nowhere near as large, but our direct competitors are, companies like Proseco, for a little while BAS, Evonik. I mean, these are, master builders. I mean, their products are being spec'd into the commercial industrial space all the time, and um, they do not sell directly to the consumer. They definitely didn't sell online. Did very little online. I mean, even when I was at Rust-Oleum, they didn't have any direct relationships and relied solely on their brick and mortar distributor partners. And that model has been around for a long time, and especially in this industry. I mean, let's face it, right? I mean, the contractor, construction, concrete sealer business is, filled with a bunch of guys who, hate using their cell phone, and, they don't,
Hmm.
care to use the internet very much. And, obviously things have changed a lot in the last 5, 6 years and with COVID and everything. But, you got to date yourself back to 2013 when the iPhone was pretty much a new idea.
Hmm.
And, direct to sales was something that no one was really doing. And Ben and Jess saw that as an opportunity to take industrial grade sealer and start selling direct. And you know, I think because of that, there's a lot of good information about the company online that has aged well. I think the products are speak for themselves. The formulations in them are fantastic. I mean, there's been quite a few projects where we've gone up against master builders and Sika, and we've outperformed them
Hmm.
given the same scenario, because that's what happens a lot in the commercial industrial business is, there's a lot of ASTM testing data that's used. There's specifications that need to be met. Architects are requiring certain test results in their projects and are specifying that. And so in order to be competitive in that space, you have to have your game's got to be on, and so I think some early on success and some direct to consumer sales and a really cool brand. And I mean, we had again at the time, you looked at Ben will often say like, websites in 2015 and all of our competitors looked like Windows 95, and we looked like, we were the new Mac OS. And I think that has led to a lot of a younger audience, and I think it's aged well over the last 10 years. I mean, when I came here 6 years ago, I had no direct to consumer experience. I was of the old school,
Hmm.
selling hardware products through distributors. But I've I've seen the shift in the last 5 years, um, and yeah. So I mean, I just think that they were ahead of the curve, and that was one of the whole drivers behind the cool Go Shield brand.
I gotta say too, you're doing something right with the EpoxyMax 100 kits. It's all inclusive. You just dump it right into the bucket. You mix it and it's done. Like you don't need another 5 gallon bucket to mix it. Like it's already there. I like that.
Yep.
Um, and I like the fact that you're not trying to squeegee honey across the floor. Like the low viscosity. It's very easy to move. Um, the only thing
Yeah.
I would change is like I wish you guys would offer a pre-tinted version. That way I don't have to mix the tint in. Like you could just buy it and just. That's the only thing I don't care for. But that's a 1 minute problem. You just dump it in and mix it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We went back and forth on that a lot because our last epoxy line had a pre-tinted.
Mm,
Uh, Obviously, selfishly, it's a lot easier to inventory when you
mm,
only have a bunch of clear, and
mm.
you don't have
Yeah.
to make batches of color. But I would say, as a distributor partner and even an installer partner, if you want to buy in bulk,
Mm,
then you can get bulk discounted costs,
mm.
buy a pallet or two, and you can use that on any one of your jobs, and you don't have to worry about getting, a particular color for a particular job. You can just order the additives on an ad need basis.
Well,
You
that's
can,
that does make sense. I can see that now.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with our concentrates. Like I remember again coming aboard and 6 years ago thinking like, who buys concentrate? No one buys concentrate. No one wants to mix anything. Customers want it easy. They just want to pour and spray and go.
Mm,
But when you tell a customer that every fourth gallon is free because they're saving on shipping, you know, the people who see the value, but
mm.
you just have to explain it to them.
Yeah.
And they'll, oh yeah, I totally get it. Why would I do it any other way?
Yeah.
But it's important, I always ask the questions like, what are the pain points? Because you get in your own bubble and you start to think like, well, we do things the way we do them because we think they're right, but what does the rest of the world think? And so part of it was asking you the question is, what do you value in manufacture? Is that we're constantly trying to figure out what we can do better,
Yeah.
or at least what we can do better that no one else might be doing or
Yeah.
not doing.
Well, with me just being kind of small potatoes that I just like the personal touch that so far you and Ben have both offered to me. It's just this personality. It's like I think he's called me before just to chat. How's things
Yeah,
going? Yeah.
yeah,
What you got going on? Like, like how things been? Like, can I do anything for you? Like, I'm sure he wants me, just to see if he can do something, but also it's like he called me just to chat before, which is kind of cool. There's also a distributor in outside of Nashville. Like, he actually reached out to me in the same way that Ben did, but he's a distributor, and he was like, "Hey, I see you do VCT. I have this product you might be interested in," and I really appreciate what he's done as well because it's a personal touch, and it's almost even more personal because he gave me some samples, and then he reached out to a company. Are you familiar with Koval?
hmm
So he reached out to Koval and said, "Hey, I got a guy that's does VCT. He wants to try to use some of your product, and could you offer him some samples?" And he got me like quite a bit of free samples to use, free of charge. And then he drove it from Nashville to Chattanooga and gave it to me, and like that was cool.
yeah,
And I ended up buying some of it from him later on, but I've never bought any actual like epoxy or any type of other floor coatings other than Koval from him. He's a distributor, but he he like this is just a personal touch. Like anytime I post a video of me doing a floor, he'll call me afterwards and be like, "Hey, I liked your floor. You did this, you did that. Why didn't you do this? You should have done that." And I'll tell him the same thing I tell you because I have to do it the wrong way, Ryan. I have to do it wrong, and then I'll know to do it right. Same conversation, but like I had an issue with the floor a while back, which you may have heard. Like Ben may have told you, where when the top coat didn't cure for whatever reason. It was strange, and
no, you didn't tell me this, but tell me about it.
yeah, it was a patio I did like a month or so ago. Like the polyaspartic just it didn't cure. I came back 3 days later and I took a squeegee and squeegeed it into a big puddle, and
Huh.
and had to like sweep it up and then basically clean everything. And luckily, I have a history in cleaning floors, so I was able to clean it pretty easily.
What
But
would what did you come to the conclusion of, I guess?
like, what happened?
Well,
Or
why didn't it cure, do you think?
I don't know. Like the only thing Ben thought was maybe something may have gotten mislabeled. We were really weren't sure because I sent him pictures of the used containers too. So,
Yeah, never heard of that. Yeah, we've never
but
had that.
well,
Huh. Sorry, people working.
no,
Guys,
you're good.
sorry.
No, that's fine. Well, that's another thing too. Like when I had that issue, like Ben was on the phone with me the whole time, and then he FaceTimed with me the
Hold
whole
on.
time.
Hold on 1 second. Hey, I'm on the phone, guys.
So, but yeah, he was
We're
on the phone with
coming
me the whole time I'm looking at it. Then he FaceTimed with me, and then while I'm on the phone, he's like, "Don't worry about it. We're sending you some new product." And he sent me some new product, and like he pretty much had my back the whole time and made sure I got it done. And he also gave me some advice, to get it cleaned up and prepped and ready to go again, so I could do it again. And that was really nice. But to bring it back, what I was talking about, the other distributor I was talking about, like even he gave me some advice on how to do it. And I've never bought from other than the Koval. I've never actually bought stuff from him. And then even like I posted a video just the other day of me doing a garage. He called me afterwards just to talk to me about it. Never bought anything from him other than Koval, but it's like developing a relationship with people is nice. Like it costs nothing to develop relationships with people, whether it's friendly or not. Like just it. I guess me being from the South, like just being friendly with people just kind of like comes naturally, and I like that out of somebody who I'm doing business with.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, like, especially when it comes to your livelihood, right?
Yeah.
You want to know, like, I feel, I would imagine that you feel as though your reputation in the industry is important to you, and the products and the people that you rely on that help, create that structure underneath you
Mhm.
is extension of your personal brand. And so, you want to know that the people that you're working with have good intentions for you and have your, back in their pocket as well. I mean, I would imagine that's an important piece to all this.
Oh yeah, I was notorious when I worked at Walmart, especially when I was taking care of the floors at Walmart. I was very notorious about being like, "This is our floor, like this is ours, this is mine, this is yours." Like when we leave here, everyone knows we work here, like, and everyone shops here. Like we own this floor, so let's make sure when they come in, they know that this is our floor. Like
Yeah, yeah,
and show them like this is what we do. Then some people don't like that. Some people like to throw their hands in the air and like yell and like, oh, but not me. Like let's take a little pride in our work. Like I want to walk away from my floor knowing that I did the best I could.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it doesn't happen. There's been some floors where it's like, oh, I just gotta get out of here. Just God, I gotta get away from this thing. But for the most part, you want to. I like it's like you said, it's your personal brand. Like everyone knows me as the floor guy. That's what I do, and like so I need to do the best I can, and especially with me now that I'm doing so much content creation. Like you know, I I'm I want to make sure that it's looking good. I want to make sure it's doing right, and I also want to try to avoid getting my ass chewed out in the comments, which is going to happen anyways, especially with epoxy. But it is what it is.
yeah. Well, I assume you listen to Joe Rogan because
I do.
I see the connections, and he says that all the time, which I'm sure you know. You just can't read the comments.
Yeah, just don't read the comments.
Don't read
Well,
them.
that's very
Be
that's
authentically you, man.
that's true. Like you can't, but also like if you're trying to build like a content, if you're just trying to build your content page, I do try to interact with people. With VC, honestly with VCT, I get for every 100 comments, I might get one negative one.
Okay.
I might for 100 comments, I might get one person that just cannot help themselves and they just have to say something. And I'm so confident on that. I don't care. I sincerely don't care. I'm like, you're just so full of crap, dude. Like, or like, you know, it doesn't even phase me. With the epoxy, it phases me a little bit because I'm
Well,
still
you're still
still
learning.
a novice at it, and it's like And but on the same hand, like I'm also smart enough to realize that these people also just cannot help themselves sometimes. They just can't. They have to. If you're look, man. So if you've been doing epoxy for 15 years and you're using 32-inch Lavina propane grinders and you have this, you're probably charging what you're charging is probably way more than what I'm charging. And you look at my video and you see me using a home built Edco grinder and shop vacs, and you want to criticize how it looks in the end, like that's on you, man. Like you really, really like you want to criticize me. I'm new. That's how you want to like.
Yeah, some
He's
guy.
got the problem, not me. Like if I've not yet had a floor come up on me. I've been doing it 3 years. I've not yet had one person call me and say, "Hey, it's flaking up, it's cracking, it's doing this." Not once. Even when I was using Rust-Oleum garage floor kits the first year. N- my first one I ever did was my sister's house and her husband 3 years ago, and it still has that same Rust-Oleum kit on the floor. It don't look great. He's
Right,
happy with it. I don't think it looks good. I keep trying to get him to let me redo it. He doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to pull everything out again.
right.
But um, at the end of the day, like if you're really that confident in yourself, why are you belittling a new guy? You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, it's like I think it's primal,
it
right?
is.
It's primal, especially I think in men, where it's like ridicule the weak
Yeah.
and they'll get strong.
Well,
And
and to
some
that
people
point, like
approach.
I have gotten like there, I have seen like certain things in the comments, like some positive, you know, like feedback that's like, "Yeah, I see that you did this wrong. Maybe try doing this. Like keep it, something like that." And I have utilized that. And then I see some people that are just straight up assholes. Like I had a guy tell me like probably a month or so ago on a video I posted. He goes you this is literally the worst floor I've ever seen in my life. Like you should quit doing floors. Like
Hypermoral.
that is the that was his comment.
It's
I'm like,
trolling.
and in my head I'm thinking,
It's
you took
trolling.
time out of your day to do that.
Yeah.
I'm in VCT my whole life. I'm, not to knock on wood or not to puff myself up, but I'm an expert. There is zero chance of me going and finding someone who's new to it and then like criticizing their work. Like I'm if they ask, I might give them some pointers, but I'm not gonna go criticize their work. Like so when people do that to me, like it's a them problem. It's a you problem. It's not a me problem.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I like to, I mean, I personally like to teach. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems to be something that I do. When we do the classes, like our last class we did, Jay was supposed to do, and he's the guy who, has been leading our installs lately,
Yeah.
and he was supposed to do it, and I just can't help myself. I'm like, well, everyone shows up. I'm like, all right, well, all right, guys, like, like
Yeah, let's
everyone
get
shows
started.
up, and Jay's supposed to be the lead, and I just end up taking the lead. I just,
That
I
that
like
reminds
doing.
me, I'd asked about them, and then we kind of went off. Well, like, tell me about these classes because that's something I'm interested in, and I know a lot of
Yeah,
guys would
so
probably be interested in that as well.
we've been doing them like one per season. I mean, so basically 4 or 5 a year.
Mhm.
Um, Everyone wants to do the metallic, but and I would say that the payoff for the class, what I mean by that is the central point to the class that we do is a metallic, but we bring in flake and we bring you through the whole process, right? Usually it's a 3 day class. Day one, it's all about grinding. We bring people into the office and I basically created a manual that goes through the whole process and I cover what the process looks like, what they're going to do, sort of the classroom style of what they're going to go do for a hands-on, you know, um, in the afternoon. And so they come in the morning, you introduce myself, introduce the team, introduce who we are, walk through the manual, what they're there to do, what they're going to accomplish over the next 3 days. We get into details on day one about testing concrete moisture. We get into grinding, all the different tooling, the different techniques, the things you have to watch for, not watch for. We get into hand grinding. So we kind of just we bring them out into the warehouse and we have a whole large area set up where they will operate all the machinery, the grinders, the vacuums. We bring them through what's a good grind, a bad grind, how to choose their tooling. It really just it's a crash course,
Hmm.
but grinding is a big piece to it.
Hmm.
And so it's really day one is grinding, and then at the end of the day we clean and we just really do a floor. It's like a 600 square foot spot in the warehouse that we do a metallic floor.
Hmm.
And then day two, it's you do the metallic coat on top of the base coat that we did the previous day.
Hmm.
And then we'll do flake at the same time. So we do a base coat next to it. We do some flakes. Guys get to see different size flakes, throwing the flakes, different techniques for throwing the flakes, 100% coverage, 50% coverage, all that kind of stuff. And then the last day is all top coats, cleaning and top coats. We have 4 or 5 different top coats that we walk through with them, high gloss, satin, um, polyaspartic, urethane. And so we talk about the different techniques for how to apply certain coat, every coating seems to have their own way of laying down. And over time, we've learned how our products behave. So we're trying to establish, again, it's about establishing success for them. What do we need to do to position our applicators for success? Because their success is our success. I mean, that's how I look at it anyway. I mean, um, you know, uh, it's the Wild West. Everyone does things differently. It seems to me like every epoxy is a little bit different. Every top coat is a little bit different. And there's tricks that we've learned over the years to make our top coats lay down well. And I just like to deliver that information to them.
Gotcha. And so how much does your classes run?
It really depends on a few things, but I would say, we're somewhere around 2,500 bucks a head for
Okay.
the three.
And does that include lodging as well, or is that just the class?
That's just the class.
Just the class. So they got to find
But
their own hotel. They got to find their own. They have to feed themselves too, Brian.
no, they don't. We pay for the
Oh, good.
we have it catered. Yeah, I mean, I again, like, I heard on a podcast I was listening to with you. I don't remember exactly who it is you were talking to, but you had said that you had a bit of sticker shock when you got into the epoxy floor industry.
Oh yeah, I
You
still
were
do.
saying,
I still do. You
yeah,
remember we talked a couple weeks ago, and I was looking at 4,500 square foot. I didn't get the job, which is fine with me because between you and me, I didn't like the client.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, well, I gave him my price. It was like my price was too expensive for him, which was dollars a square foot, and
okay.
I might edit that out, but dollars a square foot, and he said I was $2 more expensive than the last guy.
Yeah, it's tough
But
because
anyhow, like with VCT, I'm really lucky if I can get $1 a square foot.
yeah, so the sticker shock piece, I was the same way, when we started talking about what we charge for our class.
Hmm.
And the reality is, like, we go through a lot of product
Hmm.
and, we're using up the grinders, we're using up the tooling, we're using up tons of epoxy. I
Hmm.
mean, a 600 square foot, floor, if you're putting down a base and you're putting it down at 30 square feet per gallon, you know, you're, you're using, you can, by the time the week's over, you're 15, 20 kits in,
Hmm.
like, because you're doing the flake and everything else, you're spending quite a bit of money on product,
Hmm.
even though it's our product, it still costs.
Hmm.
And honestly, like, I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on floors.
Hmm.
I mean, I've just lost tens of, especially metallic. I can remember one metallic floor we did. We showed up. It was an old slab of concrete in really rough shape. It was for a car detailing company, and they wanted a nice metallic floor. We put an oil stop primer down because it used to be a garage where there was a lot of cars being worked on, and so we encapsulated all of the oil, which we have. And that helps oil and petroleum from bleeding through and affecting any of the top coats. So you can put this oil stop primer down, and then we put our real thick base of epoxy. We were having, and again, this was at the very beginning while we were working through the formulation. So we were having issues with formulation and pigment, color pigment. And then, but then we put the metallic coat down, and we were getting all sorts of off gassing that was happening. So the whole metallic coat was ruined. And then we put down a top coat that wouldn't fill in all the little air bubbles that were being created. And so then we were like, okay, we need to, sand this. And then we hired someone to put the top coat down after we thought we fixed everything, and they didn't put the top coat down very well. So we had to sand the top coat off again. Point is, like, we lost $20,000.
Hmm.
And what we learned in the end was, yeah, well, when you run into this problem, do it this way. And when you run into this problem, you fix it this way. And when you run into this problem, you fix it that way. And that floor had a lot of problems that we learned on, but it cost us a lot of money. If I
Sure.
just took
It's
a
an
class,
expensive education, right?
yeah, if I just took a class for $2,000, I would have saved 18.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know,
So
it's
I we're
not a lot at the end of the day.
so we've been talking now for an hour and 40 minutes or so. So, but we'll probably wrap it up soon. But I do have a couple more questions, and
Yeah.
one on the class side. Well, not just with the class, but with like your licensed people and your retail locations. Tell us a good success story. Like what's a good EpoxyMax success story, whether it be from the class or one of the other ventures.
A good success story. Well, I guess so. We had our first, so our we had a guy named Julio come in. He wanted to take a class. He was interested in getting into the epoxy business. He owned a floor company that installed office equipment and put carpets down and stuff. And he was, wanted to get into epoxy to diversify his business. And so realized that he was local, and he's like, you guys are just this Epoxy Max brand is great. And I don't know if I can compete, quite honestly. So if you can't beat him, join him. What do I need to do to join? And he took the class, and I said, well, let's do this license agreement. So he takes the license agreement, and gets his crew together. And the one guy who was from Argentina, who was going to be his right-hand man to install the floors, ended up having to go back to Argentina because he was having, some issues with his family. So
Hmm.
he left. So now Julio's, left to try to figure this out all himself. And many many floors later, he's now perfecting the craft
Hmm.
and has decided to open up an Epoxy Max retail store location. So he's opened up a retail location down in Baltimore. We just actually, if you go onto our Instagram feed, we opened it up probably about a month ago.
Yeah, yeah. I was in DC the day before you guys had the grand opening. Like I was, if I could have stayed another day, I probably would have went out there.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been great to see you. But yeah, he opened up that location, and they've been doing very well. I mean, surprisingly, if I'm being honest, surprisingly, he's moving through product with no support from me yet. He's doing it all himself. And so for me, it's exciting because here's a guy who was just really looking to diversify his business, and it's become, a real significant linchpin in his overall business. And now he's continuing to expand, and I think he loves the brand. And I think if you ask him, I ask him all the time, well, why did you decide to do this? Why did you decide to open up the store? His response is, I really enjoy working with you and Ben and the team. You guys seem like great partners. Whenever I have a question, whenever I have a problem, you're always there for me. And I think, like, trying to find someone with similar values is very important to me. And that's why I had no problem opening up this store. And so, like, for me, that's a success. To me, that's a success story for the brand.
Yeah,
And that's a success story for Julio, who I think had no intention on growing this part of his business so fast and so large.
yeah,
I would love to have more Julios. You know what I mean? Because
yeah. That
sometimes,
sounds like it. I mean, if you went from just taking the class, like had a local flooring company, then just took a class, and then like, all right, I need a location now. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've said to myself a few times, like, oh, this guy just keeps jumping in. Like, he's just jumping in. I thought I was a risk taker. He's just jumping in, but it's paying off for him. So it's nice to see that.
yeah. So what's next for Epoxy Max or Ghost Shield or both? What's next?
Um, Well, we're right now focused on opening up more distribution locations. So if anyone listening is looking or potentially thinking about either partnering with us to become an installer or thinking about opening up their own retail distribution location, give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. Ben would love to hear from you. Right now we have distributor locations in Baltimore, Hudson, New Hampshire, Staten Island, New York, Peabody, Massachusetts, Puerto Rico. The guys down in Puerto Rico are just they're really doing a great job. I mean, they're ordering so much product, and these guys love it down there. So we also just opened up Ayers Flake in Iowa, a couple locations with them.
And
And
you're
then the guy,
talking to somebody in the Tennessee area about potentially distributing?
yeah, yeah, I think so. Ben's talking to him, and
Okay. You know where
I,
at? Like what city?
I'm not exactly sure which city.
Okay. All right.
He's got the details,
So that
but
I haven't asked him about it, but I'm gonna try to get him in contact with you because I just thought about it since we've been talking. That the other guy I told you I talked to, his name's Ryan. He's just a distributor, but he carries all different types of brands. I may get him in touch with you guys. Maybe something can come from that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to
Yeah,
talk to him.
he owns a place called Resinous Flooring Supply Southeast in Spring Hill, Tennessee, which is right outside of Nashville.
Okay. How close is it to you?
I could be. Well, I drove to his house and picked up some product once. It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not far. So
don't give away your territory if you're thinking about opening up that store.
that's probably a pipe dream on my end. Like I don't know.
We do financing.
Well, the thing is, like right now, me and my wife are really trying to buy a house. So like right now, my idea is like we got to get a house. Like because I'm 40 and I've never owned a house. Like I've rented my whole life and like you know three kids and it's like I got this business. Like I need a house, and so that's like kind of like where our financial aspirations are right now. Just we're house shopping. After that, I don't know. Maybe I could see myself running a store. I got retail experience, and I got practical experience as well. So,
Do it up, man. Well, I'd love to help you if you're thinking about it. But
oh
no,
yeah,
seriously, it was good to talk to you.
I
It
got
was
one more
cool.
question, man. We're not getting off here just
Oh,
yet.
sorry. Oh, I thought you were
We
wrapping
need
it
to
up.
talk about the grinders, the Maximus
Maximus grind.
Maximus grind. Yeah,
Yeah. So we have right now in inventory, we have a 23-inch electric, a 20-inch electric, a 10-inch electric. Um, we're looking at the propanes, but to be honest, the Northeast lacks a Lavina and Dymapro dealer, so we just became a dealer of theirs. So I'm not quite sure if the propanes that are going to come in are from Lavina or if we're going to, go the Maximus grind route. So that's yet to be decided.
okay.
But
And if someone wants one of the Maximus grinds, they have to be at one of the locations. They order it online. Do they call you? How are they getting them?
Yeah, they can call me or they can call Ben. Our number, if you want to call, at the office, is 855-573-8383. You can call either me or Ben, or really anyone here can help you. But we also have them at our locations too.
Okay,
Our full EpoxyMax store locations, the Baltimore, the Hudson, and the Peabody locations.
gotcha.
Are
Do you
going to have
offer do you offer a stand-up edge grinder?
a stand-up edge grinder. Well, we offer a 7-inch grinder, and you can get those like what are they? They're stand-up frame that you can
Yeah.
mount it to. And then our 10-inch is you could probably consider it an edge grinder,
Okay. Because
you know?
that is going to be my next purchase is a stand-up edger. My 40-year-old back is pretty much revolting against being on my hands and knees to do edges at this point, and my pride will not allow me to get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a monster.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
like my brain just wants me to do things the hard way. But the next thing like, I am gonna buy a stand-up edge grinder. Like, I'm happy with my walk-behind grinder, and I'm happy with my cheap vacuum setup. But I will spend some money on a stand-up edger at some point. I've actually, truth be told, I've actually been looking at the on floor. edger.
Okay.
I keep seeing ads for those, and the ads are working because I want one.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what happened, right?
like the ads are working because I want it. And actually, the video, the podcast I just released today with John Hutchins. I talked with him probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I released it today, and he's got a I think he's a distributor for On Floors. I believe that's what he is. So don't quote me on that, but he's got some really good information, and he's got me wanting one really badly. Like I
What
want it. Yeah.
what is it about it that you like? Because I don't think I've seen them. I'm curious.
It's just when you get a chance, look at the video. I like the design of it. Like you stand straight up. It's not like a push. You stand above it, and I think it rolls every direction, and it's two discs right up against the edge. Like it's hard to explain, but it looks like it can get up under lips too, and it's low profile, and just hard to reach places. And
I think I've seen it before. I think I've seen
um,
it.
but I want it so much, like especially in this heat. Like I think I got early stages of heat exhaustion last week. It was so hot. It was mid
No,
90s, high humidity, and
you got to look at it like you're investing in your health at this point.
well, we were drinking water and drinking, I was drinking electrolyte water and trying to stay cool. I had fans on us, and it just sometimes even in the heat it just ain't enough. And I went home and drinking water, and I woke up the next day and I felt hungover. Like I was shaking, and my lips were chapped, and and I just had no energy, but I had to go back and put the clear down. So, but anyhow, Brian, I guess we will start wrapping it up here. But I've really enjoyed this. This has been really informative.
Oh, good. Well, listen, I appreciate you having me on. It was good to chat with you too, man. I've never been on a podcast, so I have no idea if this is going to be a good podcast or a bad podcast,
I think
but
it was phenomenal. Like I think it's going to be great. Like you having you guys like number one, personally, selfishly, Ben has been a huge asset to me.
yeah.
Just flat out, like he's been more helpful than anybody else. Anybody had any reason to be helpful. He sells me stuff at like he just, like, and I couldn't be more thankful to have him as an asset, as just somebody I know in general. And then you guys are you guys are doing stuff, and from people where I've been, I think it's important for them to hear what you guys are doing, and and then also people who have been in the industry for a while. Maybe they haven't heard about you, but I know they listen, and you know, you guys, I like what you're doing up there. The personal touch to me is everything, though. Like anybody can call and order, and place an order for epoxy, and some faceless person sends it to them. But it's just nice to know that you guys take a personal touch with your customers.
Yeah, we're trying, man. We're trying. I definitely learned a lot at Rust-Oleum. A lot of stuff to do and not to do.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to capitalize on what we learned, just getting better every day.
The
Trying.
first three garages I ever did were those Rust-Oleum kits. They look good. Like I bought just the kit. I always doubled. Like if it was a 2-car garage, I bought two-car kits, but it works. And I bought extra flake to put in there because the flakes is just never enough, but I liked them.
Cool.
But anyhow, Brian, my kids are upstairs tearing the house apart, so I need to go check on that.
All right, buddy.
And but I've enjoyed talking with you, and it'll probably be honestly, I'm a little backlogged on these. Like this will be episode 22, and I just released 17 today. So it'll probably be a good 3 or 4 weeks before this one actually gets released. I might try to jump it forward a little bit, maybe. We'll see. But I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm gonna keep my eye open. I can't wait to hear it. I don't know if I'm gonna like hearing myself, but
You know what? I didn't like that at first. When I first started doing video content creation, I didn't want to talk at all because I did not like my voice. And then when I was pretty vocal about, ironically enough, I was vocal about not liking my voice. But then I'd been having this idea for a podcast for a while too, and they're like, "How are you going to have a podcast if you don't like your voice?" Uh, but I think I kind of gotten used to it, and like having this mic actually helps because it makes my voice sound less tinny, and when I go to edit it or release it. But then I also don't go back through and I've only re-listened like all the way through to a couple of these. Like I do go through and listen to them like sporadically in sections, but I haven't listened to like a one all the way through, except for like probably two of them.
Yeah. No, dude, sound good. You sound good.
I appreciate it. Not bad for a guy that grew up in Georgia, right? So, all right, buddy. Well, you have a good day. Oh, by the way, before we go, I need to know uh, how can people get in touch with you? How can people get in touch with EpoxyMax? That way they can see what they're doing. I can add that into the show notes as well.
Yeah, so they can call our office if they're interested in, becoming an EpoxyMax distributor, or if they're interested in the licensing program, they want to order a product, they can call into the office. Our number here is 855-573-8383. We're located in Hudson, New Hampshire, which is just north of Boston, about a half hour north of Boston, right over the New Hampshire line. You can reach me, Brian, at ghostshield.com. And yeah, if you got any questions, or if you need anything epoxy related, Ghost Shield related, penetrating sealer related, I'm your guy.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day, buddy.